In the vast, twisted realms of the warp and on battlefields across the galaxy, demon princes occupy a throne of paradox. They are both gods and monsters, both champions of chaos and manifestations of its will. Ascending from the ranks of mortal beings to become powerful avatars of the dark gods, these beings embody the very essence of chaos, bound to eternal servitude, yet rewarded with power beyond imagination. But what makes them so important to chaos? Why do the chaos gods bestow such boons on select mortals, transforming them into undying beings that straddle the line between the mortal and the immortal? To understand the significance of demon princes, we must first grasp the nature of chaos itself. In the Warhammer 40,000 universe, chaos is not a mere force, but an array of sentient, insatiable gods, entities born from the raw emotions and ambitions of mortals. Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, and Slaanesh. Each god seeks to spread their influence over the material and immaterial realms, but their goals are complex and divergent. The dark gods hunger for power, influence, and domination, and they use mortals as instruments to enact their will in the material universe, where they cannot tread directly. Herein lies the critical role of demon princes. A demon prince is not just any champion of chaos. These beings have earned their power through profound acts of devotion, savagery, or cunning that exemplify the values of their chosen god. In their ascension, they transcend mortality, becoming living symbols of their patron's might. Demon princes are imbued with powers, physical transformations, and dark gifts that allow them to carry out their god's will more effectively than mere mortal followers. But even more than that, they serve as conduits, bridging the world of men and the world of gods, a connection essential to the strategies and schemes of chaos. The chaos gods use demon princes to achieve the unreachable. Where the gods themselves are bound within the warp, demon princes roam freely, enacting schemes that tip the scales of the eternal war between chaos and order. They lead armies, conquer worlds, and infect entire systems with the taint of chaos. As figures of reverence or dread, they inspire mortals to greater acts of faith or terror, thus feeding the endless hunger of the gods. Yet, as much as the demon princes are crucial to chaos, they are also deeply complex figures. Unlike lesser demons, they retain fragments of their mortal pasts, their ambitions, desires, and flaws. Some seek further glory, hoping to ascend even closer to their god's favor, while others fall prey to the endless ambition that defines chaos itself. Each demon prince's story is unique, a twisted journey from mortality to godhood, with each step marked by sacrifice and transformation. In this narrative, we will explore the role of demon princes within the greater machinery of chaos, detailing their powers, alliances, and the pivotal role they play in the dark gods' ceaseless schemes. Through their dark tales and titanic conflicts, we uncover why these beings are not only symbols of the gods' power, but also the key to their influence in the mortal realm. Their existence embodies chaos itself, a place where power is absolute, loyalty is fleeting, and the only constant is an insatiable thirst for domination. In the heart of chaos, certain figures stand apart, towering over the legions of warriors, cultists, and demonkin who serve the dark gods. These figures are the demon princes, former mortals who have risen through the ranks to become favored champions of chaos. Their rise from mortality to demonhood is the ultimate symbol of devotion, and they embody their patron god's might with terrifying effectiveness. They do not lead alone, however, for they are joined by other key entities within chaos that help orchestrate the grand design of cosmic destruction. Each of the chaos gods employs a distinct pantheon of entities, with demon princes acting as generals, overseers, and prophets. Khorne, the blood god, counts among his followers those who are utterly dedicated to war and carnage, beings who seek to bring him glory through battle and bloodshed. Khorne's demon princes are brutal, fearsome warriors who revel in combat, wading through the corpses of their foes as they fulfill their master's thirst for blood. Towering figures clad in hell-forged armor, they wield brutal weapons infused with the power of their god, inspiring Khorne's mortal followers and lesser demons to abandon reason in their devotion to the slaughter. Their loyalty to Khorne is uncompromising, but they are not without ambition, each hoping to gain greater favor by proving their worth on ever larger fields of war. In contrast, Tzeentch, the architect of fate, favors those who exemplify cunning, intelligence, and adaptability. Tzeentchian demon princes are master manipulators, weaving complex plots that span star systems and pit entire civilizations against one another. They command legions of horrors, sorcerers, and shape-shifting demons, each a pawn in a vast scheme. These princes revel in the chaos of deception, their very forms often shifting and morphing as they enact the convoluted schemes of Tzeentch. Each action they take, every pawn they move, feeds the intricate web of their patron, nudging reality toward an inevitable, twisted fate that only Tzeentch can foresee. Nurgle, the Lord of Decay, favors demon princes who can embody his diseased generosity. These princes are grotesque, bloated, and infested with the gifts of Nurgle, carrying plagues that ravage planets and corrupt all life they touch. Despite their horrific appearance, they inspire a strange, twisted form of devotion. They often command armies of diseased plague-bearers, Nurglings, and mortal cultists who revere the diseases as blessings rather than curses. For them, their master's favor represents the ultimate release from fear and mortality, as death itself is but another path to Nurgle's embrace. These princes walk the mortal realms, spreading decay, not only as an act of destruction, but as a twisted form of enlightenment, inviting those they conquer into the rotting fold of Nurgle's paradise. Then there is Slaanesh, the Prince of Pleasure, whose chosen demon princes embody excess, beauty, and boundless indulgence. Slaanesh's princes are seducers and conquerors, enchanting those around them through unmatched beauty, grace, or terror. They lead legions of twisted followers, including demonettes and fiends, who are as entrancing as they are deadly. Every act they commit, every life they take, is done with an artistry that captivates as it horrifies. Their influence spreads like a fever, infecting mortals and demons alike with desires they never knew they had, all while feeding the gluttonous thirst of Slaanesh. These demon princes do not wage war through brute force alone. They enthrall and corrupt, making their enemies allies in the pursuit of excess. Within this dark hierarchy, demon princes serve as the ultimate expressions of their god's essence, their powers and personalities shaped by their patrons' distinct domains. Each prince commands not only the armies of their respective gods, but also the loyalty of countless mortal cultists who view them as divine figures worthy of worship. Entire cults arise dedicated to the demon princes, their members willing to sacrifice everything in exchange for even a momentary glimpse of their master's power. In turn, these mortals are often granted unholy powers or blessed with mutations that bind them closer to chaos, creating a never-ending cycle of devotion and transformation that strengthens chaos across the galaxy. Yet, even as they serve as instruments of their patron's will, demon princes are far from mere puppets. Each one retains a measure of their former ambition and individuality, pursuing goals that align with their god's domain, but also serve their personal vendettas or obsessions. Many Daemon princes bear grudges from their mortal lives, seeking revenge on enemies, entire worlds, or even the Imperium itself. These grudges shape their actions, turning them into agents of chaos who bring about specific, calculated acts of terror that ripple across time and space. Some princes have been known to harbor jealousies toward each other, their rivalries and feuds spilling over into full-scale conflicts that turn entire worlds into battlegrounds for their glory. The Dark Gods, too, recognize the value of rivalry and ambition within their ranks, often encouraging competition among their champions. By setting demon princes against each other or favoring one over another, they ensure a constant drive for supremacy. This relentless struggle is not only entertaining for the gods, but serves as a way to keep their champions honed, forcing them to prove themselves worthy of their place within the hierarchy of chaos. Failure to uphold their god's will or to fall short in the pursuit of their patron's glory often results in swift and brutal punishment. Some may even find themselves stripped of their status and cast back into the ranks of mere mortals, or worse, destroyed entirely. Among the pantheon of chaos, demon princes are the linchpins in the grand strategy of corruption and conquest. They are the bridge between the terrifying power of the dark gods and the mortal world, their role so vital that without them, the influence of chaos would be significantly weakened. Their existence ensures that the agendas of Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, and Slaanesh remain in constant motion, ever-reaching, ever-spreading, and ever-threatening to plunge the material universe into eternal chaos. Each of these entities, each demon prince, is a masterpiece of their patron's vision, uniquely molded to spread corruption in the precise image of their god. To understand why demon princes hold such a vital role within the chaos pantheon, one must examine the path that leads a mortal to this coveted, horrific status. Their ascension is no random event. It is a process meticulously orchestrated by the chaos gods, who seek the most worthy, ruthless, and devoted souls. For a mortal to become a demon prince, they must first serve as a mortal champion, demonstrating an unwavering dedication to chaos that transcends life, fear, and pain. The journey of ascension is a blend of ambition, sacrifice, and a profound transformation that serves as a test of character and loyalty. Those who fail are cast aside or destroyed. Only those who succeed are deemed worthy of becoming a demon prince, cementing their place within the gods' eternal plans. The origins of many demon princes can be traced to some of the most brutal battlefields and political intrigues in the galaxy. Often they begin as mortals with a deep hunger for power or revenge, traits that make them prime candidates for chaos's influence. Warriors, generals, sorcerers, and leaders, these are the individuals who find themselves drawn to the promise of chaos. At first, it might start with small whispers, an inner voice that urges them toward darker ambitions. They may crave victory, power over others, or a form of retribution that cannot be achieved through mortal means. Chaos senses these desires and begins to lure them with promises of strength and success, drawing them deeper into its grasp with each victory they achieve in its name. Once a mortal begins their journey on the path of chaos, the gods test their resolve through battles, rituals, and trials that push them to the very limits of their endurance and morality. These champions are offered gifts, dark boons and powers that enhance their physical prowess, mental acuity, or arcane knowledge. These gifts are not given freely. Each one is an investment from the gods, a reward granted only after the champion has performed acts of violence, sorcery, or corruption that align with the god's domain. For Khorne's warriors, these trials might involve bloody battles that call for relentless fury and utter destruction. Tzeentch's champions may face labyrinthine schemes and complex sorceries that test their cunning and adaptability. Nurgle's followers often endure prolonged, agonizing diseases, and Slaanesh's followers plunge into endless realms of excess and sensation that blur the lines between pleasure and torment. Each trial that a champion endures serves a dual purpose. It tests their loyalty and dedication to chaos, but it also erodes their humanity, severing their ties to any notion of mercy or restraint. As these individuals rise in power, they lose more and more of themselves, becoming avatars of their god's will. The journey twists their very souls, reshaping them to better fit the chaotic energy that courses through them. Their flesh may begin to mutate, sprouting horns, claws, or other grotesque features that mark their transformation. These mutations are not mere accidents, but deliberate changes meant to sculpt the champion into a more perfect embodiment of chaos. By the time they near the threshold of ascension, there is little left of the mortal they once were. They have become creatures who thrive on the chaos and darkness they once only served. As champions grow in power and renown, their actions begin to attract the attention not only of their patron god, but also of other demon princes and powerful entities within the warp. These alliances and rivalries play a crucial role in shaping the ascension process. Rival champions might see each other as threats, each vying for the same dark favor, while powerful demonic beings may either aid or hinder a champion's rise depending on their own agendas. This chaotic web of alliances, betrayals, and feuds adds another layer to the ascension journey, for only those who can navigate the treacherous waters of demonic politics can hope to reach the pinnacle of power. It is at this stage, when a champion's deeds have become legendary, that the Chaos God may choose to offer the ultimate reward, ascension to demonhood. This moment is both a triumph and a final test. To accept the mantle of Demon Prince is to surrender completely to chaos, to give up any last shreds of mortal identity and embrace an eternity of servitude. It is said that in this moment of ascension, the champion undergoes a transformation unlike any other, with their soul being torn from the bounds of mortality and reshaped in the fires of the warp. The transformation is agonizing, as every fiber of their being is unraveled and reforged into something new, something greater, and something far more monstrous. This ritual of ascension is no mere ceremony. It is a dark alchemy that binds the essence of the god's domain into the champion's very soul. As the final moment of transformation concludes, the champion emerges as a demon prince, a being of godlike power but eternally bound to their patron. They are granted a realm within the warp, a domain over which they hold dominion, and are tasked with spreading the influence of their god throughout the galaxy. This ascension marks the culmination of the champion's journey, but it is also the beginning of a new existence, one in which they are no longer a pawn, but a significant player in the grand, eternal game of chaos. Despite their immense power and the new status they hold, demon princes are not without restrictions. Their ascension binds them to the will of their patron, who grants them great power, but also demands unwavering loyalty and obedience. They are entrusted with missions that further the god's reach into the material realm, tasked with corrupting worlds, leading legions, and undermining the forces of the Imperium. However, their actions are not solely for the benefit of the gods. Demon princes also pursue their own twisted goals, often driven by the lingering memories and ambitions from their mortal lives. This pursuit of personal vendettas and desires serves chaos in its own way, as each demon prince's journey contributes to the overall chaos and discord that strengthens the pantheon. Some seek revenge against those who oppose them in life, while others seek to expand their own power and influence within the warp. In doing so, they sow division, conflict, and instability, acting as agents of disruption that weaken the fabric of reality itself. Each demon prince is unique, their powers and personalities shaped by both their past and their patron, making them unpredictable forces that add complexity to the plans of the Chaos Gods. The ascension process is not without risk, for not all who embark on this path are destined to succeed. There are countless stories of champions who faltered at the final threshold, either through a moment of hesitation or due to a lack of favor from their god. These failures are often catastrophic, as the champion may find themselves cast into the warp as a failed experiment, their soul doomed to an eternity of torment. Others may be reduced to mere spawn, twisted and mindless creatures who serve as reminders of the dangers of ambition within chaos. The gods are capricious, and while they reward those who bring them glory, they are equally quick to cast aside those who fail to meet their standards. Thus, the road to becoming a demon prince is fraught with peril, a journey of transformation, power, and ultimately surrender. Those who succeed are granted a measure of immortality and divine power, but at a great cost: their freedom, their humanity, and their very soul. As demon princes, they become eternal servants of chaos, bound to enact the will of their patrons across both the warp and the material universe. Their ascension serves as a testament to the corrupting allure of chaos, a reminder that even the most formidable beings within the galaxy were once mortal, shaped and driven by desires that led them to surrender everything for the promise of power. In doing so, they become symbols of the dark seduction of chaos itself, a warning and a temptation to all who seek power beyond the bounds of mortality. As the Chaos Gods seek to expand their influence and wage eternal war against the Imperium, the unfolding saga of chaos is marked by constant shifts, epic battles, and grand conspiracies. In this dynamic, demon princes play a crucial role, moving like sinister chess pieces across a board that spans entire star systems. Their presence on the mortal plane and in the warp is not a constant. Rather, it's an ebb and flow dictated by both necessity and opportunity. While bound to the will of their god, these dark figures are often tasked with intricate plans that push the bounds of strategy, creating complex scenarios that further the reach of chaos in ways both brutal and cunning. The timeline of demon princes' actions often revolves around moments of cataclysmic upheaval. When the galaxy finds itself at a crossroads, during warp storms, during key battles in the Imperium, or during critical moments of political instability, demon princes manifest to alter the course of events. Their influence in these times cannot be overstated. They become catalysts for destruction, appearing suddenly to lead assaults, enact grand rituals, or manipulate entire factions into conflict. Such moments are rarely accidental. The dark gods carefully orchestrate these appearances, seeking to maximize their influence and disrupt the plans of their enemies with calculated precision. In one significant series of events, a demon prince of Khorne known as Rakarath, the Skull Taker, emerged to lead a brutal invasion on a fortress world within the Segmentum Obscurus. The planet had long served as a bulwark against chaos incursions, but Rakarath's assault was relentless, his armies driven by the singular goal of seeing the world fall. For months, his forces waged war, with Rakarath himself leading charge after charge, slaying hundreds with his enormous, blood-soaked axes. However, this campaign was not purely a display of force. Rakarath's true objective was to draw Imperial forces into a prolonged conflict, stretching their resources thin across the sector. The Chaos Gods, through Rakarath, saw the battle as an opportunity to weaken Imperial defenses elsewhere, creating vulnerabilities for future incursions. Through sheer brutality, Rakarath served as a tool to destabilize the entire region, sowing seeds of weakness that would bear fruit in future invasions. While some demon princes excel in open warfare, others utilize more insidious means to achieve their objectives. The demon prince Isroth of Tzeentch serves as a prime example, his actions characterized by subtlety and deception. Isroth infiltrated the politics of a hive world known for its mineral wealth, which supplied vast quantities of resources to the Imperial war machine. By using his powers to shapeshift and manipulate, Isroth impersonated key political figures, sparking disputes and civil unrest that spiraled into a full-scale uprising. Under his influence, rebel factions formed, and soon the planetary governor was deposed, leaving the world in chaos. As the rebellion peaked, Isroth's agents fanned the flames of discord, and ultimately he revealed his true form, decimating the planet's leadership in a single night of horror. The planet was left crippled, and with its resources diverted, Imperial forces were left scrambling to secure alternative supply lines. The ripples of this action spread far and wide, weakening nearby sectors and forcing a diversion of forces that suited Tzeentch's larger designs across the galaxy. There are also events in which multiple demon princes converge on a single objective, working in a rare display of coordination under the influence of their patron gods. Such a convergence took place during the War of the Red Nebula, a conflict that saw demon princes of all four Chaos Gods brought together with the singular goal of tearing open a massive warp rift. United by the promise of shared glory and unprecedented influence over the material realm, these princes commanded vast armies, assaulting a strategic star system deep in the heart of Imperial territory. Each faction brought a unique weapon to bear. Khorne's forces tore through defenses, Tzeentchian sorcerers conjured chaotic storms, Nurgle's legions infected entire worlds, and Slaaneshi cultists spread debauchery and despair. The resulting carnage weakened the boundaries between reality and the warp, and the rift became a dark monument to Chaos's dominion. In this rare show of unity, the Demon Princes achieved a significant victory, one that reverberated through the galaxy as a testament to the strength of Chaos when united in purpose. Yet for all their grandiose battles and schemes, the actions of Demon Princes are not limited to mere conquest. Many engage in complex manipulations of local populations, guiding entire civilizations into the worship of their respective gods. One such endeavor involved the Demon Prince Laras the Decadent, a former pleasure lord of a distant system who pledged his soul to Slaanesh. Laras infiltrated a powerful mercantile dynasty within the Imperium, corrupting its leaders and subtly instilling values of indulgence, hedonism, and excess into the culture of an entire world. Over decades, the society became obsessed with status and luxury, ultimately destabilizing the planet's governance and igniting internal strife as different factions vied for control. By the time Imperial authorities realized the extent of the corruption, the world had become a nest of debauchery and excess, entirely lost to the influence of Slaanesh. Laras's actions, though less overtly violent, demonstrated the power of Chaos to subvert and control through temptation and allure, leaving entire worlds hollow and ripe for Chaos's purposes. Throughout these events, the Demon Prince's influence is characterized by a pattern of escalation, a constant drive toward deeper corruption, greater conflict, and larger-scale devastation. Whether by bloodshed, manipulation, or debauchery, they weave webs of corruption that slowly unravel the fabric of the Imperium. Each action is part of a greater scheme, each victory a step toward Chaos's ultimate goal, the destruction of order and the supremacy of the warp. But the consequences of these actions extend beyond the immediate damage. They create long-lasting wounds in the psyche of the Imperium's citizens, fostering an environment of fear, mistrust, and paranoia. The Imperium, in response to these incursions, has often deployed its most formidable forces, Space Marine chapters, Inquisitors, and entire regiments of the Imperial Guard, to counter these threats. Yet, the very nature of Demon Princes makes them difficult to combat directly. Unlike mortal foes, they are not bound by the limitations of the physical realm. Their presence is fueled by the warp, and they draw strength from the fear and despair they create. Even when driven from the mortal plane, they linger in the minds of those who witness their power, a haunting reminder of the might of Chaos. For every victory won against them, there are countless losses, and even the slightest defeat can have catastrophic repercussions for entire sectors. The timeline of Demon Prince activity paints a bleak picture for the Imperium, one in which every victory is tempered by the knowledge that Chaos is an ever-present threat, lurking just beyond the veil of reality. The battles they wage and the schemes they enact are part of a greater tapestry, one woven by the Dark Gods to ensure that the forces of order are constantly on the defensive. In these conflicts, the Demon Princes are not only warriors, but also symbols of the unyielding power of Chaos, reminding the Imperium that no fortress is impregnable, no mind uncorruptible, and no victory truly secure. In the chaotic realm of endless war and shifting allegiances, Demon Princes stand as agents of constant upheaval, but there are pivotal moments that define their journeys and solidify their places within the grand scheme of Chaos. These moments, known as the turning points, are crucial junctures where a Demon Prince's actions alter not just the path of their own destiny, but the fate of entire star systems, or even the larger conflict between Chaos and the Imperium. It is during these turning points that the true power, cunning, and ruthlessness of a Demon Prince are revealed. One such turning point occurred with the Demon Prince Yulthgar, a being of vast, unfathomable power, whose allegiance to Nurgle was matched only by his own ambitions. In the midst of an Imperium siege on a world tainted by Nurgle's plagues, Yulthgar orchestrated a complex deception that would ultimately decimate the attacking forces. The planet, a decaying wasteland infected with untold plagues and corruption, was of great interest to the Imperial High Command, which sought to reclaim it and purify its lands. Recognizing the potential in this, Yulthgar devised a plan not to merely defend the world, but to turn it into a weapon that would spread his god's blight beyond its boundaries. Disguised within the planet's ruins were bioengineered viruses and spore-based pathogens so potent that even a minor disturbance would set off a chain reaction, infecting not only the ground forces, but potentially spreading to other worlds within range of the planet's warp conduits. Yulthgar allowed the Imperium to press forward, letting them believe they were winning as they secured the outer cities. When they finally reached the central hive spire, Yulthgar triggered the trap, releasing a torrent of virulent contagions that swept through the Imperial ranks. Within hours, the force was overrun, transformed into a plague-ridden horde under Nurgle's influence. This turning point didn't just annihilate an Imperial force, it created a spreading plague of new cults and corrupted beings, expanding Nurgle's influence across neighboring worlds and establishing Yulthgar as one of Nurgle's most effective agents. In another infamous instance, the demon prince known as Sagora the Deceiver, servant of Tzeentch, was faced with a critical decision that would define his role in the schemes of his god. Sagora had been leading a covert operation to infiltrate an Imperial fortress world, a key stronghold that supplied resources and troops to surrounding systems. His forces had embedded themselves deeply within the world's infrastructure, ready to strike at the heart of its defenses. However, just as the plan neared fruition, Sagora received a vision from Tzeentch, revealing that a major inquisitorial force was en route, a force that had been hunting him across the sector. In that moment, Sagora faced a choice: proceed with the assault, risking his forces and perhaps even his own existence, or alter his plans to counter this unexpected challenge. Embracing the ever-shifting nature of Tzeentch, he chose the latter. Using his powers, he manipulated the fortress world's leaders, turning them against each other and igniting internal strife. By the time the Inquisition arrived, they found a planet embroiled in civil war, its defenses weakened, and its commanders distracted. Sagora then vanished into the warp, having sown enough discord to leave the fortress world vulnerable to a future invasion. This turning point solidified his reputation as a master of manipulation, proving to Tzeentch that his servant could alter plans in ways that fed the chaos of deception and confusion. Meanwhile, not all turning points are acts of cunning or sorcery. Some demon princes find their defining moments in acts of unbridled fury and dominance. One such example is that of Valgar the Reaper, a demon prince of Khorne, who stood on the brink of defeat during a brutal confrontation with the combined force of Adeptus Astartes and Imperial Guard on the war-ravaged world of Calathar. The Imperium's forces had managed to surround Valgar's legions, pinning them down and preparing to deliver a final decisive blow. Cornered and outnumbered, Valgar faced a choice: fight to the death, risking the destruction of his armies, or attempt an escape to regroup for another assault. However, retreat was not an option for one devoted to Khorne, and Valgar knew that only through carnage and sacrifice could he honor his god. Fueled by his god's thirst for blood, he ordered his forces into a frenzied last-stand assault, charging into the heart of the Imperial ranks with an unstoppable fury. Valgar personally tore through the lines of the Astartes, shattering their formations and reducing the battlefield to a blood-soaked arena of endless slaughter. His actions turned the tide of the battle, and although many of his forces perished, his victory was absolute. This turning point immortalized Valgar as a force of unmatched brutality, one who would sacrifice all in service to Khorne's insatiable thirst for violence. The very memory of his carnage served as a lasting reminder to his foes of the terrible cost of challenging Khorne's chosen. Not all turning points are confined to the battlefield. Some arise from within the mysterious domains of the warp itself, where demon princes vie for power among their own kind. One such figure, Maltharak the Vile, found himself embroiled in a power struggle within the warp, facing off against another demon prince whose ambitions threatened his own influence over a particular region of the Immaterium. This rivalry grew intense as each prince gathered their own legions and forged alliances with lesser demons, vying for control over a region known for its connection to the material realm. At a critical juncture, Maltharak received an opportunity to make a pact with a powerful warp entity, one who could tip the scales in his favor. Yet, to secure this alliance, Maltharak would have to sacrifice a portion of his own power, essentially granting part of his essence to his would-be ally. Choosing ambition over caution, he accepted the pact, binding himself to the entity and gaining dominion over his rival's forces in the process. This turning point was a gamble that paid off, elevating Maltharak to a new level of influence, but it also left him irrevocably tied to the entity he had bargained with. His decision forged him into a more powerful, albeit more enslaved, force within the warp, a choice that resonated with the followers of Chaos as a testament to the unpredictable costs of ambition. In these moments, demon princes reveal the depths of their commitment to their gods, their cunning, and their ferocity. Each turning point underscores the sacrifices they are willing to make, be it their armies, their plans, or even fragments of their own power, to further the goals of Chaos. These pivotal moments not only mark the lives of the demon princes themselves, but also shape the universe around them, transforming worlds, shifting political landscapes, and fueling the endless cycle of war and treachery that defines the struggle between Chaos and the Imperium. It is through these defining moments that demon princes prove themselves time and again, earning their place as the Dark God's chosen champions. Their actions ripple across the galaxy, leaving scars that cannot heal and sowing seeds of corruption that grow long after they are gone. They are agents of change, harbingers of dread, and avatars of the God's will, wielding their power with a deadly precision that makes each turning point a moment of transformation, not just for themselves, but for all who are caught in the ever-spreading shadow of Chaos. The dark impact of demon princes stretches far beyond the singular events of their actions. In their wake, they leave a web of corruption and disorder that spreads across the Imperium, infecting societies, destabilizing planetary governments, and often marking worlds for centuries of chaos. The immediate effects of a demon prince's presence are rarely isolated to a single battle or campaign. Instead, their influence creates lasting consequences that weaken entire sectors, bringing the Imperium's carefully guarded stability to the brink of collapse. One of the most profound consequences of a demon prince's incursion is the psychological devastation inflicted upon those who survive. The Imperium relies heavily on the faith of its citizens, encouraging them to believe in the Emperor's protection and to see the Imperium as an unbreakable shield against the horrors lurking beyond. But when a demon prince appears, when people witness the raw and terrifying power of chaos made flesh, that faith can be shattered. Soldiers, citizens, even planetary leaders who face the wrath of a demon prince are often left traumatized, and the seeds of fear and doubt take root within their hearts. The Imperium fears nothing more than the spread of heretical ideas, and a demon prince's influence often acts as a catalyst for that spread, breaking down belief in the Emperor's omnipotence and sowing dissent and disillusionment among entire populations. Such was the case on the agri-world of Phaelax, a verdant planet supplying resources to dozens of Imperial systems. For years, its population lived in relative peace, largely untouched by the horrors of chaos. But when the demon prince Helzar, known as the Herald of Despair, invaded, that peace was irrevocably shattered. Helzar's arrival was marked by dark storms that swept across the planet, and his mere presence infected the populace with an overwhelming sense of dread. As his forces ravaged the land, whispers of despair and hopelessness filled the air, spreading faster than any plague. By the time Imperial forces arrived to intervene, Phaelax had transformed into a world of haunted eyes and trembling hands. The trauma lingered for generations, with tales of Helzar's horrors woven into the fabric of society, a constant reminder that the Emperor's light is not all-encompassing. Faith in the Imperium had been weakened, and even after the Demon Prince was driven away, the scars remained, creating fertile ground for future chaos corruption. The physical consequences are just as devastating, as the taint of chaos lingers in the environments that Demon Princes touch. On many worlds, entire landscapes are twisted by the warp, transformed from fertile lands into warped wastelands. The very laws of nature are rewritten in the wake of these entities. Rivers run with blackened blood, mountains bleed, and forests twist into grotesque shapes, mocking the natural order. These corrupted areas often become breeding grounds for chaos cults, attracting those drawn to the forbidden and the profane. With each return, these cults grow in size and influence, creating underground networks that gradually destabilize the local government, turning loyal imperial worlds into hotbeds of insurrection. Even the Imperium's most powerful forces struggle to fully cleanse these regions. After a Demon Prince is expelled, entire planetary sectors may be declared lost, with the Adeptus Mechanicus placing quarantine orders or even deploying exterminatus protocols to prevent the further spread of corruption. On some worlds, Inquisitors establish permanent surveillance to monitor these tainted lands, but despite their best efforts, Chaos's mark often proves impossible to erase. The Imperium's resources are strained by these eternal watch efforts, and over time, these scars accumulate, drawing away resources from other critical fronts in the galaxy. Beyond the psychological and physical devastation, Demon Princes play a role in the strategic weakening of the Imperium. Through careful manipulation, these entities often set traps and orchestrate events that bleed the Imperium's forces dry. A single incursion by a Demon Prince can lead to the diversion of massive military resources, as the Imperium cannot afford to ignore the threat of chaos. Worlds fortified with legions of soldiers are tied down for years, sometimes decades, in containment efforts, with no clear resolution in sight. This prolonged commitment of resources means fewer forces are available to defend against other threats. Xenos invasions, rebellions, or the incursions of rival factions within the Imperium. A prime example of this can be found in the sector surrounding the desolate world of Zothria. When the Demon Prince Morgul the Betrayer attacked Zothria, he knew that his actions would draw the attention of the Imperial Guard, Space Marine chapters, and even the Inquisition. However, his true goal was not merely the conquest of Zothria, but the diversion of the Imperium's forces. By instigating a protracted conflict on this remote world, Morgul effectively created a strategic black hole that pulled in resources, leaving nearby systems vulnerable. While the Imperium fought to hold Xothria, other worlds in the sector suffered pirate raids, Xenos assaults, and uprisings, leaving entire planetary defense networks in tatters. The strategic consequences of Morgul's incursion lingered long after his defeat, with some worlds still struggling to rebuild their defenses years later. These Demon Princes also bring with them the dark gift of forbidden knowledge, which they often implant in the minds of those they corrupt. This knowledge can take many forms: arcane rituals, forbidden sciences, or even insights into the weaknesses of the Imperium's structure. Those who fall under a Demon Prince's influence might be inspired to rebel, manipulate, or even exploit the Imperium's bureaucratic flaws, feeding into the already bloated machine of inefficiency and mistrust that characterizes the Imperium's administration. These acts of sedition become particularly dangerous when they occur within the ranks of Imperial officials, who are then able to spread Chaos's influence from within, hidden beneath the guise of loyalty. In many cases, Inquisitors and other agents of the Imperium are left with few options but to eradicate entire noble houses, military units, or even planetary governments if they suspect corruption has taken root. The ruthless measures required to contain these outbreaks only serve to deepen the cycle of chaos. By forcing the Imperium to purge itself in such brutal ways, Demon Princes achieve a secondary goal. They weaken the bonds of trust and loyalty within Imperial society, making it easier for chaos to find its way into the cracks left behind. The seeds of paranoia are sown, as citizens and officials alike become wary of their leaders, fearing the taint of chaos even in the highest ranks. In addition to destabilizing imperial worlds, Daemon princes also impact the warp itself, creating regions of instability that are almost impossible to navigate. Warp routes become treacherous, marked by storms, anomalies, and even demonic ambushes that imperil the lives of any unfortunate enough to travel through them. Navigators, the skilled psychers who guide imperial vessels through the warp, dread these regions, as they are plagued by visions and whispers that can drive even the strongest minds to madness. As a result, trade and communication routes are severely disrupted, creating logistical nightmares that strain the Imperium's supply chains. By corrupting these vital routes, Daemon princes ensure that entire sectors remain isolated, vulnerable to future chaos invasions, and cut off from the larger Imperial network. The long-term impact of a Daemon prince's presence is thus felt on multiple levels, leaving scars on both the physical realm and the Imperium's social structure. These beings act as harbingers of entropy, unraveling the threads of civilization and fostering a pervasive sense of dread and instability that resonates through generations. Their influence is like a plague, one that spreads slowly but inevitably, leaving once stable worlds fractured, paranoid, and haunted by the fear of chaos. The ways that Daemon princes execute their dark missions involve a vast array of terrifying technologies, arcane sorceries, and tactical innovations unique to the forces of chaos. Unlike the rigid and often predictable methods of the Imperium, the tools and tactics employed by Daemon princes are as varied and chaotic as their patron gods. Their technology is not a mere extension of the warp, but a blend of corrupted archaeotech, demonic enhancements, and forbidden lore, combining ancient wisdom with the boundless, twisted potential of the immaterium. A significant piece of Daemon Prince technology is the warp-forged armor they wear. Unlike the ceramite and adamantium armor worn by Astartes or the bionic augments of the Adeptus Mechanicus, these armors are more than just physical shields. They are woven from the essence of the warp itself. Each suit is forged in the hellish forges of the warp, infused with the essence of the chaos god they serve, and crafted to resonate with the prince's specific powers. For example, a prince of Nurgle might wear a living, festering armor that exudes plagues, while a prince of Slaanesh dons sleek, mirrored armor that distorts reality, allowing them to move with supernatural grace. These armors make Daemon princes resistant to many conventional weapons of the Imperium, granting them resilience that defies human comprehension and instilling fear in those who dare face them. Beyond their armor, Daemon princes wield weapons of dreadful power, relics forged in the immaterial fires of the warp, or even crafted from the essence of slain demons. These weapons are often tailored to the specific will of their patron. A blade of a corn-aligned prince might pulse with the blood of those it has slain, each strike feeding the prince's power and intensifying their bloodlust. In contrast, a staff wielded by a prince of Tsench may be adorned with ever-shifting glyphs, acting as a conduit for the prince's dark sorcery. These weapons are alive, bound to the souls of those who perished by their edge or touch, and they grow in strength alongside their master. Some of these weapons have minds of their own, whispering to their wielders or subtly guiding their strikes to ensure maximum carnage. For Daemon princes, these weapons are not just tools of war, but extensions of their own will, powerful relics that deepen their connection to the Chaos Gods and make them formidable forces on the battlefield. Daemon princes also command demonic machines, twisted parodies of the war engines used by the Imperium and other factions. These include war engines such as the Defiler, a horrifying hybrid of tank and demon that rampages across battlefields with unnatural speed and resilience. Some princes even bind demons into possessed vehicles or dreadnought-like constructs, creating monstrous weapons that are nearly impossible to destroy. These abominations operate not by mechanical power alone, but through the rage and torment of the bound demonic essence within them. Demon engines tear into their enemies with claws, maws, and warp-infused cannons, often leaving destruction and terror in their wake. The princes who command these engines are adept at directing their fury, using them not only as blunt instruments of war, but as strategic assets, capable of dismantling fortified positions or sowing chaos in the ranks of their enemies. In addition to their martial technologies, demon princes often wield potent psychic powers, particularly those aligned with Tzeentch. They use the dark arts of sorcery to manipulate the very fabric of reality, bending time and space to their will. Through complex rituals, they can open warp rifts, allowing legions of lesser demons to pour forth into the material realm, or even distort time to grant their forces a temporary advantage. Some demon princes can cast illusions so powerful that entire battalions are led into deadly traps, attacking phantoms or fleeing from invisible foes. These spells are not bound by the predictable laws of physics or nature, making them difficult for even the most disciplined Imperial forces to counter. In the hands of a Daemon prince, sorcery becomes a versatile tool, adaptable to any battlefield, allowing them to strike with unpredictable and devastating effect. Another unique advantage held by demon princes is their mastery over warp portals, pathways that allow them to move between the warp and the material universe with terrifying speed. Unlike mortal psychers who must carefully navigate these paths, demon princes can open and close them at will, using them as both escape routes and strategic entry points. They appear on battlefields where their enemies least expect them, attacking from directions considered impossible or vanishing moments before they can be struck. This ability to traverse dimensions grants them an unparalleled level of mobility, turning them into elusive targets and highly effective raiders. Warp portals also allow demon princes to bring reinforcements directly from the Immaterium, creating sudden surges of demonic forces that overwhelm unprepared foes. This mastery over warp travel is a tactical nightmare for the Imperium, making it nearly impossible to anticipate or contain a demon prince's movements. Demon princes' tactics on the battlefield vary depending on their allegiance and goals. While a Khorne-aligned prince might charge headlong into enemy lines, inciting a frenzy among their troops and causing as much carnage as possible, a Tzeentchian prince may hold back, directing troops with precise, cunning strikes that exploit weaknesses and unravel enemy formations. Princes aligned with Nurgle often focus on attrition, wearing down enemy forces through relentless assaults and spreading plague among the ranks. In contrast, a Prince of Slaanesh employs speed and psychological warfare, seeking to undermine morale through disorienting tactics and displays of deadly elegance. These tactical styles are not just random approaches, but carefully crafted methods meant to reflect the ethos of the god they serve, embedding the influence of chaos into every engagement. A demon prince's tactical approach often incorporates an understanding of their enemy's weaknesses, both physical and psychological. They exploit the rigid structures of Imperial strategy, using chaos's inherent unpredictability to outmaneuver the typically methodical Imperial commanders. Demon princes are known for targeting symbols of authority, commanders, psychers, and key artillery positions, seeking to disorient the opposing forces by removing their leaders and essential assets. This leaves the Imperium's forces in a state of confusion, allowing chaos to seize control of the battlefield through sheer disarray. On the strategic level, demon princes are not mere brutes or berserkers. Many of them, especially those aligned with Tzeentch, are expert manipulators, orchestrating entire campaigns designed to destabilize sectors and draw Imperial resources away from crucial fronts. They lay complex traps, instigate false alliances, or leak information that leads their enemies into fatal missteps. Through such machinations, they weaken the Imperium's cohesion, forcing its armies into overextension or even internal conflicts that make their worlds easier prey. For demon princes, every victory is part of a larger scheme, every engagement a step towards Chaos's ultimate goal of breaking the Imperium's hold on the galaxy. The tactical mastery and technological might wielded by demon princes make them fearsome enemies, but it is their sheer adaptability and ingenuity that truly set them apart. In a universe dominated by strict hierarchies and rigid beliefs, they represent the antithesis of order, reveling in chaos and reshaping the battlefield into an unpredictable theater of war. Through their mastery of dark technologies, sorcery, and battlefield strategy, demon princes stand as the ultimate field commanders of chaos, capable of reshaping the course of wars and spreading the will of their patron gods through devastation, terror, and disorder. Their every tactic is a testament to chaos's philosophy of unrestrained power, embodying the values of their gods with every strike they deliver and every plan they unfold. Among the many who serve the chaos gods, there are those whose names inspire either terror or awe across the galaxy, figures of such renown and infamy that their very presence shifts the balance of power in the ongoing conflict between chaos and the Imperium. These are the heroes and villains among demon princes, the champions whose actions echo through time, cementing their legacy as avatars of ruin and destruction. Each of these beings, molded by their own dark journeys and driven by ambitions that defy mortal comprehension, embodies the purest form of their god's will, becoming legends of chaos who stand apart from their kin. One such figure is the demon prince Kraj Kal the Relentless, whose allegiance to Khorne has earned him a reputation as a relentless juggernaut of carnage. Known for his ceaseless, unyielding approach to war, Kraj Kal strikes fear even among his fellow demons, for his bloodlust knows no limits. In life, Kraj Kal was a warlord whose sole ambition was to conquer and destroy, and upon ascending to demonhood, that ambition grew into an insatiable craving for bloodshed. Clad in a massive set of brass armor fused with his own flesh, and wielding an axe that can shatter stone and rend steel as easily as flesh, Kraj Kal has led countless campaigns across sectors, decimating any who stand in his path. His legend was cemented during the siege of Borthix, where he faced off against 3 entire regiments of Imperial Guard, cutting them down with such ferocity that the rivers ran red. Kraj Kal's brutality left the defenders shattered and morale decimated, proving that not all victories are measured by conquest alone, but by the sheer terror and psychological scarring left in their wake. In stark contrast to Kraj Kal's straightforward slaughter, the demon prince Kael Gor of Tzeentch is a figure of mystery, guile, and forbidden knowledge. Kael Gor's mind is a labyrinth of schemes within schemes, plots that span millennia, and secrets that only he can decipher. This Daemon prince rarely appears on the battlefield. Instead, he operates from the shadows, manipulating entire civilizations to further Tzeentch's inscrutable designs. Known to some as the Architect of Shadows, Kael Gor weaves plots that sow discord across planets and star systems, often pulling strings to orchestrate events that only reveal their true purpose centuries later. A master of sorcery, he is feared as a manipulator of fate, often appearing as a hooded figure in visions that haunt Imperial psychers. The legends surrounding Kael Gor speak of his ability to warp reality itself, with some claiming that entire worlds have been driven to madness by his illusions alone. Kael Gor's presence is felt not in physical battles, but in the cascading effects of his manipulations, leaving behind ruins and paranoia in his wake, a testament to the subtle power of chaos. From Nurgle's ranks comes the putrid figure of Demon Prince Grothak the Undying, whose bloated form is a nightmarish testament to the gifts of the Lord of Decay. Grothak is a being of endless endurance and resilience, impossible to destroy by conventional means, as his corrupted flesh regenerates with each blow. His presence alone spreads plagues that seep into the soil and air, turning the ground upon which he walks into festering swamps. Known as the Walking Blight, Grothak has infected dozens of worlds, his legacy marked by abandoned, pestilent landscapes where life has become a twisted parody of itself. Despite his horrific form, he possesses a twisted sense of affection for those who succumb to his plagues, seeing each infection as a gift of Nurgle's love. Grothak's most infamous campaign was the infestation of Lorthus V, where he marched across the land unhindered, spreading a virulent disease that killed millions. Even when the Imperial Guard attempted to halt him, they found that his mere presence on the battlefield was enough to bring their soldiers to their knees, with waves of sickness tearing through the ranks. The surviving soldiers were left haunted by the sight of Grothak's hideous smiling face, and his blessings lingered for generations. Slaaneish's champion among demon princes, Ziaral the Exquisite, is a creature of intoxicating beauty and nightmarish desire, whose every movement is a work of art and horror combined. Ziaral is known for mesmerizing her enemies, enthralling them to the point that they willingly throw themselves into her embrace, only to suffer unimaginable fates. In life, Ziaral was an artist of unmatched talent, driven to madness by an insatiable thirst for perfection, and in Daemonhood, that passion has been warped into a weapon. She moves through battlefields like a dancer, her elegance hiding lethal intent, and those who gaze upon her are often lost to madness, unable to reconcile her allure with the terror she invokes. Her power lies in her ability to manipulate and twist emotions, drawing enemies into her web of obsession. Ziaral's most infamous act was the descent of Glacia Prime, where she seduced the ruling aristocracy, driving them into a frenzy of indulgence and depravity that led to the planet's downfall. As her influence spread, the entire population succumbed to madness, abandoning their lives for a singular, destructive pursuit of pleasure that rendered them easy prey for Slaanesh. Ziaral's legacy remains as a reminder of the seductive, corrupting power that chaos can wield, warping beauty into a weapon more potent than any blade. Among the many demon princes, some rise above mere champions, becoming embodiments of their god's darkest aspects. Each of these figures has shaped the history of chaos in ways that ensure their names will be remembered for eons. While other demons may perish or fall back into the oblivion of the warp, these legendary demon princes endure, their deeds inspiring new waves of cults, heretics, and dark crusades. Each act of corruption and destruction they bring about adds to their mythos, making them symbols of chaos's power and a constant reminder of the threats that lie beyond the material realm. In the Imperium, tales of these figures spread like wildfire, whispered among those who know of the horrors that lurk beyond the Emperor's light. They are spoken of with reverence by those who worship chaos, and with dread by those who seek to protect humanity from its influence. But to those who fall under their spell, these demon princes are not just monsters. They are gods in their own right, beings whose actions transcend the boundaries of mortal understanding, shaping the galaxy according to the dark designs of their patron deities. Behind the formidable power of demon princes lies an air of mystery, with dark secrets and unanswered questions that surround their existence. For all that the Imperium and even Chaos worshippers know about these beings, many aspects of their nature and powers remain enigmatic, hidden within the shifting depths of the warp. These mysteries serve to heighten the dread and reverence they command, as each demon prince carries with them not only the strength of the gods, but also secrets that defy mortal understanding. From the mysterious paths of ascension to the strange and unexplained behaviors of these dark champions, each demon prince is shrouded in questions that both inspire and terrify those who encounter them. One of the deepest mysteries surrounding demon princes is the nature of their consciousness and memory. It is often believed that demon princes retain some memories of their mortal lives, but how much of their former self remains intact is a topic of endless debate. Some argue that they remember everything, that they carry the burdens, ambitions, and traumas of their past into their new existence, which fuels their loyalty or hatred for the Imperium and other mortal institutions. Yet there are many accounts that suggest otherwise, that demon princes lose nearly all vestiges of humanity in their transformation, their memories fragmented and distorted by the process of ascension. The truth may lie somewhere in between. While they retain enough of their mortal self to carry grudges or pursue goals, their minds are irrevocably altered by the warp, rendering them alien to human understanding. For Imperial scholars, the idea that such beings may act on impulses from a past they no longer fully comprehend is chilling, as it suggests that even they may be unaware of their true motivations. Another profound question revolves around the very nature of ascension itself. While it is known that the Chaos Gods grant demonhood as a reward to their most devoted champions, the exact mechanics of this process are cloaked in secrecy. It is unclear whether the ascension is instantaneous or if the process takes place over eons within the warp, with the chosen mortal's soul undergoing a slow, agonizing transformation. Some scholars speculate that the act of becoming a demon prince is not a simple elevation, but rather a ritual of cosmic significance that binds the prince's soul to the warp in such a way that it can never be undone. There are whispers among those few who have studied chaos closely that the ascension ritual is tied to the deepest forces of the warp, a process that connects the prince not only to their god, but to the very fabric of chaos itself, making them more than just servants, but integral parts of the warp's endless chaos. The relationship between demon princes and the chaos gods they serve is yet another topic filled with unanswered questions. While it is assumed that demon princes act as direct agents of their gods, the level of autonomy they possess remains unclear. Some demon princes appear to operate with near-complete independence, roaming the galaxy and enacting schemes that align with their personal ambitions rather than carrying out direct orders. Others act as extensions of their god's will, their actions dictated by visions and compulsions that they cannot resist. The true nature of this relationship remains a mystery. Whether they are truly independent beings with a god's blessing or extensions of the god's consciousness is a question that haunts those who encounter them. The Chaos Gods are known for their capriciousness, and it is possible that they grant their princes varying levels of freedom as part of a larger, inscrutable plan. Whatever the case, demon princes maintain a precarious existence, as even the slightest deviation from their god's desires can lead to their power being revoked or their essence being cast into oblivion. The connection between demon princes and the warp is another mystery that has eluded comprehension. Unlike lesser demons who are bound wholly to the immaterium, demon princes exist in a liminal space between reality and the warp, able to traverse both worlds with greater ease than almost any other entity. Some speculate that this dual nature grants them insights and powers that are otherwise inaccessible to mortal and demonic minds alike. When a demon prince appears in the mortal realm, they are not merely entering from the warp, but are, in a way, bringing the warp with them. The specific mechanics of this phenomenon are unknown, but it has been observed that reality itself seems to weaken in the presence of these beings, as if their very existence disrupts the boundary between dimensions. This unique connection to both realms is thought to be one of their greatest assets, allowing them to channel powers and forces that transcend the limitations of either domain. Theories persist that they might act as anchors, points where the fabric of the warp and the material universe intersect more intensely, though to what purpose remains a mystery that even the most knowledgeable of Imperial psychers dare not investigate too deeply. The enigmatic nature of demon prince loyalties also gives rise to numerous theories and questions. While a demon prince is typically bound to one chaos god, there are tales of princes who have switched allegiances or even served multiple gods at different points in their existence. How such shifts in loyalty are possible and why the chaos gods would allow it is unclear. Some scholars believe that the gods may occasionally permit their champions to change allegiances as part of their own internecine rivalries, using these powerful entities as pawns in their endless struggle for dominance. Others suspect that demon princes who shift loyalties are viewed with deep suspicion by the gods and their fellow champions, treated as renegades to be destroyed should they prove unreliable. Yet there are rumors of rare Daemon princes who, through their cunning and power, have managed to maintain a tenuous balance, drawing power from multiple gods and thus becoming wild cards in the grand game of chaos. These figures are rare and shrouded in myth, with even their fellow demon princes wary of their motives and allegiances, as such beings challenge the very structure of Chaos's hierarchy. Finally, there is the question of whether demon princes can ever truly be destroyed. While many have been vanquished in battle, their forms dissipating into the warp, it is uncertain if such deaths are final. Some within the Inquisition believe that a demon prince's essence can never be fully erased. Rather, it is temporarily banished, forced back into the depths of the warp to regenerate and scheme until it can return. These banishments can last for centuries, even millennia. Yet there are numerous cases where demon princes thought to be destroyed have reappeared, seemingly unaffected by their prior defeats. The resilience of these beings only deepens the mystery of their existence. Are they eternal by nature, bound to the warp as immortal figures of chaos? Or is there a hidden method, known only to the chaos gods, to end them once and for all? This question leaves a sense of unease within the Imperium, for it implies that no victory against a demon prince is truly permanent, and that these dark champions may always return to plague humanity once more. These mysteries, along with countless others, make demon princes figures of fascination and dread within the lore of the Imperium. They are beings whose true natures may never be fully understood, for they operate according to laws that lie beyond mortal comprehension, bound to forces that shape the universe itself. For the scholars, psychers, and even inquisitors who dare to study them, demon princes remain enigmas, paragons of chaos whose very existence challenges the boundaries of reality, wielders of powers that stretch beyond human understanding, and symbols of the dark, unknowable depths that lie within the warp. The legacy of demon princes stretches across time and space, leaving an indelible mark on the galaxy. Their existence shapes not only the realms of chaos, but also the future of the Imperium, influencing every war, rebellion, and whisper of dissent. These beings are more than just champions of their dark gods. They are symbols of Chaos's will, conduits through which the destructive force of the warp makes its relentless push into the material universe. Their actions ripple outwards, shaping the destinies of worlds, igniting wars, and altering the course of entire star systems. Their influence continues long after their presence fades, embedded within the fabric of history itself. The enduring legacy of these dark champions lies partly in the lingering corruption they leave behind. On countless planets across the galaxy, the taint of a demon prince's presence remains, warping minds, mutating life, and twisting reality itself. These places become hotbeds for cult activity as the seeds of chaos sprout in the minds of those left behind. The echoes of their corruption seep into the cultures of these planets, creating lasting social fractures that fuel future conflicts. Entire generations grow up hearing stories of the terrifying power of chaos, shaping their lives and beliefs in ways they cannot fully understand. Fear, suspicion, and paranoia spread through these societies like an infection, destabilizing even the most loyal Imperial worlds. For the Imperium, the lingering influence of demon princes is a reminder that their enemies are not bound by the physical laws of mortality. Every appearance of a demon prince serves as a catalyst for the Imperium to tighten its grip, to reinforce its control, and to impose stricter measures of loyalty. Inquisitors, Astartes, and planetary governors alike are forced to confront the reality of an ever-present threat lurking in the shadows, a constant reminder that even their most fortified worlds are not safe from the reach of chaos. This relentless pressure forces the Imperium into a state of constant vigilance, diverting vast resources and manpower to merely contain the potential spread of chaos. It is a slow war of attrition, one that stretches the Imperium's strength thin as they combat not only the visible enemies, but also the insidious psychological scars left behind by each encounter with chaos. Yet, even within the Imperium, tales of demon princes achieve a form of morbid legend, their stories spoken of in whispered tones among those who have faced or survived their wrath. For soldiers, These figures become the embodiment of their greatest fears, their worst nightmares made manifest, and a reminder of the ultimate price of failure. These stories spread not only fear, but also a strange allure, as the forbidden nature of chaos has a dark appeal to those who feel trapped within the rigid boundaries of Imperial doctrine. It is a twisted irony that the more the Imperium tries to suppress these tales, the more they inspire curiosity and fascination among those who resent the confines of Imperial rule. In this way, the very existence of demon princes and their legendary exploits sows seeds of rebellion and dissent, undermining the unity that the Imperium so desperately strives to maintain. In the end, demon princes serve as avatars of an inevitable truth in the Warhammer universe, that the forces of chaos are eternal and cannot be truly eradicated. Their presence in the galaxy is a testament to the ceaseless nature of chaos, which draws strength from every conflict, every war, and every act of defiance against the Imperium's rigid order. The galaxy itself becomes a battleground not only of physical warfare, but of ideologies, as the unending struggle between chaos and order drives the fate of humanity and countless other species. Demon princes remind all who encounter them that no matter how deeply the Imperium digs in, no matter how fiercely they fight, chaos is always waiting, biding its time to rise again. As the galaxy hurtles toward an uncertain future, the legacy of these beings continues to haunt those in power and those who cling to the hope of stability. For the Chaos Gods, the demon princes are irreplaceable instruments in their grand designs, conduits through which they can enact their plans on a cosmic scale. Each demon prince is a thread in the tapestry of chaos, woven deeply into the fabric of the universe itself. And as long as they exist, the influence of chaos remains ever present, a shadow over the galaxy that promises destruction, transformation, and the ultimate triumph of disorder over the frail structures of mortal rule.